Hey you guys, this is your coach Andrea Dickerson here, and I'm excited because we are back with the Jumpstart Blueprint, and we are still on Module 2, but I know that you've had a lot of work to do thus far, so I know that you're really happy with your course. And don't forget, you guys, I want to get your feedback. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking, how things are going in your business, so be sure to interact with us in our private Facebook group. All right, so we are now on lesson 3 of module 2, which says to plan your business services. And this is going to be a quick video, but it's going to give you a chance to think about what you want to do and how you want to plan your business services. And all of this has everything to do with your parent handbook. And so you're going to receive my parent handbook where you can take and edit it to fit your business services. So it'll give you a chance to see some things, which was like an older version that we used at Akiba. But it'll give you a chance to just see what we're doing and what you can add to plan out your business services. All right. So the first thing we want to talk about are age groups that you are intending to serve. I want you to get real clear about the age groups that you want to serve in your childcare business, because that's going to have everything to do with how you position yourself in the market. And of course, we're going to have several other marketing strategies and brainstorming strategies coming up. But first and foremost, I want for you to describe to me what age group you intend to service in the market. So, for instance, we talked about it a little bit earlier. If you're going to service infants and toddlers, that would really set you apart in the market because there's no program that focuses solely in on infants and toddlers. However, I've heard plenty of providers talk about it, but I have yet to meet one that's all that they do in their program is infants and toddlers. However, you may want to think about having a preschool program. Now, I have met childcare providers who have preschool only programs and they seem to be doing fine, but then they come into a time where they're saying, oh, Miss Dickerson, the only calls I'm getting are for infants and toddlers, and I don't want to serve infants and toddlers. What do you suggest I do? And so I think that whatever you choose to do, remember that it's going to give you a niche market. So now you have to decide what you want to do with that niche market. Do you want that niche market to cause you to create an abundance of increase? Or do you want your niche market to be very exclusive and you still have an abundance? And so just all depends on what you want to do, but make sure that you consider your age groups. Now, if you went from ages after school to 12 years of age, and that's the age group you want to work with, make sure that you have transportation available or that you have a way to retrieve the children from their public schools. You may even want to think about having an on-site after-school program and an off-site childcare program. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Now, the next thing I want us to discuss are the business hours. Now, of course, business hours is very important, especially after you do your competitive analysis. You know, the one that we gave you in your previous lesson where you found out the hours of your competition. The reason why business hours are key and important is because that will help you determine how much responsibility of wear and tear you're willing to put on your own body, and if you're going to be able to find somebody to work those particular hours for you eventually, and if these hours are going to give you a 30-minute edge on your competitors. So if everybody opens up at 6, then you may want to be the person that opens up at 5:30. However, I will only open up at 5:30 if I have employers that require their staff to be to work at 6 a.m. So that's key when considering your business hours. And you remember, business hours are marketing strategies, and they are key to you setting yourself apart from others in the industry. Months of operations. Now, there are going to be times throughout the year where your center will be closed, but you want to be clear and indicate what your months of operations will be like. Are you going to be open are you going to be open January through December, or are you only open during January to May and close for the summer, June and July, and back open August? So I need for you to really think about what are you going to do. Now, what you do will also depend on the age groups of children that you serve. Most childcare programs operate year-round, and so you want to decide, what does that mean to you? When is your year effective? And so the first thing I would suggest is that you get with your bookkeeper or accountant, and what they'll do is they'll set your business year up for you to coincide with your taxes and to coincide with your filing and things of that nature. And so when they set up that business year for you, that will be pretty much the business year that you'll want to carry with your child care program as well. Days of operations. All right, so of course, Monday through Friday are typical days. However, Saturdays and Sundays are days that you can consider as being a part of your child care program, and you can also charge what we call a la carte rate. So you may have parents that pay a flat fee Monday through Friday for a particular number of days, and then on Saturday and Sunday the charge is separate and there's a surcharge. So it just all depends on how you set up your days of operation. So if you set up your days of operations to be Monday through Sunday, and it includes 7 days of full business services, then of course you can't charge the a la carte rate. But if you set your rates up and set your days up to be where it's only 5 business days per week, then you may have a la carte days that you can use. All right. The closed days of operations. So that's key. Some childcare programs enjoy taking a break where their whole center is closed for a week. I've never done it that way, but I'm pretty sure it may just keep down confusion, especially if you offer parents a benefit of having a week of non-pay. And we call those vacation weeks. So once a parent has been with you for a year's worth, then they can get what we call vacation time. And that vacation time is where they can have the child attend the program for a week in no pay, or they can use the week that you are closed to cover their tuition for that week. So one of the other options is that when you choose your days off, that you may want to follow the federal holiday guidelines. And not only that, in following the federal holiday guidelines, you may want to create days where you have your teacher training days. Now, trust me, I never thought that this was important until I started operating a center and found out, oh boy, if you want a quality program where your teachers are one accord and they're loving what they do, you want to have those teacher training days, because it's really hard for teachers to maintain a quality classroom without it. And so there are a few things that I can suggest that you do for teacher training days. The first thing is you can close your program down for a particular date of the week. So you'll let parents know 2 weeks ahead of time that Monday the center will be closed for teacher professional development. Or you can be smart and say, you know what, I'm only going to close down the classroom one at a time. So I remember one year we were trying to crunch in new hires. All of my staff left me, 21 people left at one time, and I had to bring on new people. And so in the midst of me bringing on new people, what I had to decide to do was, how am I going to get all of these people trained? Because it was overwhelming going from room to room, trying to do it together as a group. So what I did was I took a day where I said, all right, this classroom will be closed on Monday. This classroom will be closed on Tuesday. This classroom will be closed on Wednesday. And what happened was, some parents who needed necessary childcare, they paid for a drop-in for the day that we were closed. They paid for a drop-in for the child to be in a different classroom if the age group allowed. And or they didn't worry about it and just came the next day. And I also changed their rate from a 5-week to a 4-week. And that's only because I chose to have that day off, and I chose to use that as my parents' vacation. So that's something that you can do when considering your closed days of operations and training your people so that they can operate under your rules and regs. Next one is, I want you to think about your full-time care outline. What will that include? When you get very particular about what your full-time product will include, it helps you attract the right client. So if a child was to receive full-time services, that's from what time to what time. That includes what meals, that includes what activities, that include what outcome. What would your full-time care include? And I want you to take and outline it out. So you would say, if I offer my child care services to somebody full-time, what would that include? A lot of times we try to give them the whole bag of services when it's not necessary. For instance, if full-time care is from 6:30 in the morning until 6 at night, but they need somebody past 6 at night, then that's when you can charge your upgrade or up surcharge or your upcharge. That's when you can charge more. So for instance, just keep the numbers basic. If full-time care was $100, but they needed extended care, then you can charge $20 extra for them to stay 30 extra minutes Monday through Friday, instead of including your full-time from 6:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night. Although you close at 6:30 at night, that's a way for you to upcharge your services, because some parents may come in and say, oh, well, that's too much. Say, for instance, if your regular rate for 6:30 in the morning to 6 at night was $120, and you have parents that may have a struggle with paying the $120, this is just hypothetically speaking. But if you say, well, my full-time care is $100, and if you need it past 6, then it'll be $20 extra. Parents pay for what they really want, but they don't pay if they don't understand value. So once you show them the value in having a full-time provider at a lesser rate, but if they wanted to stay the later time, then it will be more. And so that's how you can work your rates out, to encourage parents to go a la carte with you. Again, you want to think about what is going to be included in my part-time rates. For us, we said 20 hours a week equal part-time. And then we gave them variables. You could choose a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it has to be no more than 5 hours per day. Or you can choose just 3 hours and make sure that it stays no more than 6.5 hours per day. So of course, it's just up to you, but make sure you outline, what does that part-time care include? Does that include meals? Does that include snacks? Does that include diapers, wipes, transportation? So you want to be very clear. So write out your part-time care outline. Night shift. Night shift is any hours after your morning hours. Now, for me, I carried different shifts. I carried a 2 to 11 shift. And so that meant that no student for night care was allowed in the center before 2. But then we also had what we called, which was a variable schedule. And the variable schedule was they could come at 10 in the morning, but they only could do so many hours a day. And when I did the variable schedule without proper management, it caused me to lose out on loads of money due to ratio. So when you do your night care services, be sure to consider what you will be willing to monitor and what you will be willing to offer, so that parents aren't abusing your services and staff. One of the other setbacks about staff is that they at the time, the staff that I experienced, they weren't really into working at night. Like, they wanted to make the money, but they didn't want to do the job. So you want to definitely make sure that you set up everything for night care to operate appropriately. And some people might say, well, coach, when do you step out and start night care? If you put night care on your hours and you get one student to sign up, I would suggest that you work that one student. Now, you have to be financially able to work that one student and have a game plan for marketing to others, and give it about a month of time being applied and you marketing your business, and you will see where that night care will begin to overflow. And one of the other ways to push a night care is to start with extended care. Start asking parents to work with you for extended care, and that will help push parents to know about that night care. Now, the 24-hour shift care, that can be very, very lucrative. Of course, it would take a little pressure for the business owner, but if you set it up the way you would any shift, it would work. And night shift can be very lucrative. You have to be in a market where people work overnight, and not just one place work overnight, but you need at least the 2 largest employers to be offering an overnight situation, so that you can at least expect for 30 to 50 people to say, hey, it's a possibility that I need night shift services. This is definitely something that you want to market real strong to employers, real strong to the place of business that offer those employee different shifts, because that's going to be your quickest way to fill up a 24-hour childcare program. And make your 24-hour unique. Make it very unique so that parents can know that, hey, there's something that's going on at this program that's very unique to fill up those slots. All right, and so you definitely want to plan out your transportation services. We spoke earlier about programs that offer transportation as a form of a childcare program. So, what that means is that this childcare program opens up in the morning from whatever time they're expecting kids to be in, and or they have different drop-off spots and pick-up spots in the community. And so when you have different drop-off spots and pick-up spots in the community, it makes it possible for you to begin to operate as a transportation program. And you want to do transportation as a monthly fee, not anything weekly. You want to do it as a monthly. So at the beginning of every month, this is what parents pay, and this provides transportation for their children to be picked up and dropped off to school, or picked up and dropped off to their place of destination. And this is what that rate includes. And then you also want to set policies in place. So any event that the child is missed, what would you do? If the bus is running late, what would you do? If parents aren't on time, what would you do? You want to have those 3 things in mind when you're doing a transportation service. Also, if you offer a transportation service, be sure that you have a backup transportation plan so that if something happens, you are able to still service your clients, because remember, that is money. All right, so then the next section is meal plans. I want you to think about your meal plan. All right, so we're moving in time where organic food is really healthy, where meatless meals are healthy, and that means the children are obtaining protein in a different manner, and or the meals are a point of marketing for you when you create your meal plans. So whatever is your way of doing it, what I want you to know is that meal plans can be easy and effortless if you set them up on the system. So this system they're going to teach you by this audio is going to really encourage you, because you can create 4 meal plans and rotate them throughout the year. And so that means you're going to have 3 menus that's going to rotate January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and we start back over again. So what that does is that helps you better budget for your meats, your vegetables, your milk, your oh gosh, I'm on a recording and I can't think. In your grain. So that means that you're going to have 19 to 22 days where meals will need to be prepared. So that will cause you to think about your fruit, your vegetables, your protein, and your grain. So that means that you can select at least 15 grains to go throughout 66 days. You can select at least 15 meats to go throughout 66 days, and so forth. So that way you'll have a list of all the meat, all of the grains, all of the other products that you know that you're going to utilize in your menu. You're just preparing it in different ways, and you are preparing it on different days. But yet your menu is going to be the same every January, February, March. This is going to be your menu. Every March, April, May, this is going to be your menu. Every June, July, August, this is going to be your menu, and so forth. When you go ahead and create those 4 menus, which I'll attach a menu plan for you. When you create those 4 menus, it empowers you to not have to be creating your menus every 30 days. Once you create it one time, you set it and forget it. And you put your system in place, so all you have to do is keep your system moving forward. All right, with your meal plans. Next step, potty training. You definitely want to think about this. You want to put potty training as a point of service for your program if and only if parents are wanting it and they're willing to participate. And so you're going to have my full potty training kit in another module. So we won't go too deep into it today, but I do want you to think about it. Think about if you're going to be serving that age group. Think about how things are going to be set up in your business and how you're going to make potty training a real part of your program. And we talked a lot about after school and before school. Now, some people do a one-size-fit-all rate, and I just don't think that's wise. The reason being is because you will have to have a morning shift and an afternoon shift to provide transportation for you. Or you might have your transportation workers coming in on what we call split shifts. They work in the morning, off in the midday, come back in the evening for transportation. So this is what I suggest. I suggest that you do your competitive analysis and find out what other competitors in your area are doing when it comes to the cost of before school and when it comes to the cost of after school. And then you can create you a la carte price list that if they want before and after school, it's $10 to $35 more. Or if they only want one, then it's the regular rate for what you would charge for that. But always remember that you can a la carte your after school and before school because you're essentially working with two different staff and you have to have people on the clock to service them. And so the cost is not the same just because they said they want before and after school. They will have to pay for a package deal or they can buy it a la carte, okay? So let's go to the next one. Homework assistance and tutoring program. Now this is key. Your homework assistance and tutoring program has to be spelled out so parents can understand. Now for our program, we have a quality first program and that homework matters. And when we're providing that quote to parents, we want them to understand that homework is assisting the child in completing their assignment from school. Homework does not include our teachers being able to teach the lesson because we can find ourselves in some red tape if we try to teach the lesson. But what we can do is provide a space for children to independently go quietly and get their homework assistance completed. And so if you have a desire to have an after school program or if it's a school age program, you would do good if you hire teachers who are great at those particular subjects that you're going to be offering homework assistance for. So a lot of times people say, oh, you just get you a high school student. Yes, that will be okay, but they must love to teach because homework assistance is going to require somebody that's organized and that enjoy teaching. And then as far as tutoring, of course, if you want for your program to be top-notch, above the rim, then you want to have qualified tutors, which great tutors make into great school teachers. And so if you have school teachers in your area that would benefit from being a tutorer, and that is a higher wage, and you want to set those services up where it will let parents know that it's not included with the tuition if that's not how you want it set up, or it is included with your after school tuition and what days you do it on. You don't want for tutoring to be done Monday through Friday. You want it to be one particular day or two particular days out the week when you're working on these particular subjects, and this is an option that parents have, especially if it's included in your tuition. But if it's not included in your tuition, you want to set up your package to be clear so when parents are enrolling, they can see the offer for your tutoring program services. And of course, you can do a standalone tutoring program. You can host a traveling tutoring program. You can send tutors into the child's home. It's so much you can do with tutoring. And we'll just talk more about that in another training. But I did want to go over the different services that you can offer. I just want for you to take your time and plan out these business services to make sure this is something that you want to offer and that you're planning it out right. Now with this module, you can go ahead and ask your questions in the group and I'll respond to you with this particular module. All right, let's go to the next module.